Everyone around the world uses different funny letters to write because we all hate each other. So how did we put our differences aside and agree to use the same system of numbers? A long time ago in India, people looked up at the sky and were like, guys, we gotta calculate this stuff. They already had numbers, obviously, but they got serious about them this time and started using positional notation, but only kind of. Instead of having places for each power of 10, the powers were expressed with words. Eventually, the math people were like, man, this takes forever. So they invented an actual place value system that was probably based on ideas from China and Southeast Asia. Anyway, by around the 9th century, we had numbers that looked like this. Some of them look almost exactly like the ones we have today, and some of them look pretty weird. The numbers were already moving west before this though, and people in the Arab world were like, huh, this might be kinda cool. But then this guy found out about them and shared them with the whole gang at the Baghdad House of Wisdom, who then shared them with everyone. Because the numerals just had 10 digits and a place system, they were basically way more efficient for math than all the other, stupid systems. And man, did these people love math. This kinda illustrates the main difference between numbers and language. Unlike language, the numbers were just kinda better than the other systems. So the Arab world was like, yeah, these are pretty good. This spread them around the Islamic world, which used to extend over here, which was pretty close to here. So now the Europeans knew about them, yay! Nobody in Europe really cared though, except for this Pope. But what does the Pope know about math? The real frenzy started with Fibonacci, who was like, guys, these are totally better than the Roman numerals. And everyone was like, wait, you're right. And then they got banned. But then they realized doing trade was way easier when you have access to revolutionary concepts like zero. So the numerals were pretty widespread in Italy by the 14th century. After that, the Renaissance happened and everyone said, let's copy Italy. So now the numerals are really starting to make their way around Europe. Printing was also invented around this time, so the numerals started taking the familiar shape we know today. They even produced drawings like this one, where like the numbers Chad is like smugly looking at this other guy who's still using an abacus like a dumb idiot. Can you believe it? Nothing really happened for a bit, but then Europe decided to get really racist. They made really good boats and took them everywhere to educate everyone on European ideas. Their favorite tactic was to take guns and point them at people. Eventually, everywhere occupied by Europe was using the numerals, and everywhere that wasn't Europe had to trade with Europe, so they all started using the numerals. There were some exceptions, with China and Japan being the most notable. The Chinese probably knew about the numerals to some extent, but they were like, these are stupid, since they already had counting rods. They even created a number system based off the counting rods, which looked pretty similar to the Western numerals. They were introduced to the European version of the numerals by Jesuits in the 17th century, but they didn't use them a ton until the British got them all addicted to drugs and made them trade with everyone else. Japan never adopted the numerals because they isolated themselves from everyone. This continued until the Americans showed up and made them stop isolating themselves from everyone. Basically, in summary, we use these numbers because they're pretty good compared to the other systems, and also because we shot people that didn't. But these aren't the only numbers we use. We still use Roman numerals sometimes, like in the Super Bowl. We use tally marks in jail, and we use binary and base 16 systems for computers. Also, there's tons of other systems that people use sometimes. But yeah, pretty much everyone uses these, or at least like a lot.